Hey there, and welcome back to Am I the Asshole? Magic the Gathering edition. Today we have another community submission, which again, thank you so much for all of the amazing community submissions. I actually have like 5 more to get through before we can even begin looking at Reddit again, so you can find the submission link in my bio. Am I the asshole for deliberately ruining a player's night at an LGS during a paid event? I'll preface this story by explaining this took place during a paid entry event, with prizing on the line in every pod. Each pod was randomly assigned by the event runners, and there's a house rule at this LGS that Rule 0 conversation must take place before each game, so players can be on mostly equal footing. After winning my first pod and taking the prize for it, I wanted to maybe shoot for second in my next game and give someone else a shot at first to spread the love. I get put in a pod with a longtime friend and 2 randoms. We begin Rule 0 convo, and I state I'd like to play bracket 4 as I want to test out my new deck. But I'm down to play a 3 if that's what the table wants, which is ultimately what we decide to do. Friend chooses to play their To Say Weatherlight Captain deck that runs no game changers or crazy combos. They just like to cheat out big stompies. I'm running to Vol, the balanced scale, and I let the table know it does have 2 game changers and some infinites, as most graveyard decks do. But I will refrain from using those until late game if I can. The first random is playing very lightly modified Edgar Markov, typical Mardu Vamps. Second random throws down Silas, Brandon Rawgrath, and immediately I'm skeptical, as I've seen this combo plenty in cEDH, but I figure maybe it's toned down. I quickly learned how wrong I was as he proceeds to turn 1 Mana Vault. Luckily, my friend clocked him immediately and made the conscious decision to give the game to myself and the other player at the table and just focus on shutting down the Silas player for the whole game. Turn 2, he attempts to throw out Grim Monolith, and my friend counters it. By this point, I am fully convinced he's lied about his power level, but I let it go and play my own game. Now, determined to either win the pod or give the other random first, I just want this guy to lose. I then proceed to spend my next 2 turns strip mining a few of his lands with Taval's Recursion. Over the course of the game, my friend, who is fully determined to make him miserable for his choices, has spent 4 counters removal pieces on this guy and has not interacted with myself or the other player. The Silas player makes a desperate play, trying to Tainted Pack into a win con, during which we see numerous game changes and cEDH staples. He hits nothing he can cast as he's tapped out, and on my next turn I begin looping Phyrexian Altar and Gravecrawler to make zombie druids, after which I cast Guiltleaf Archdruid and tap my zombies to steal the remainder of his lands, completely shutting him out. The game ends up going to time, and unfortunately I brought the other random's life total just below mine while attempting to get to Vol attack triggers after they had already had a slow start, being mana locked for most of the game. After the game is over, we call for a deck check on the guy. The judge sees Tainted Pact on top of his graveyard and proceeds going through the exiled pile, which leads to him being disqualified for the night and not being able to play anymore. I felt bad about winning a game I didn't set out to win, so I ended up giving the second place player the pick of the prize pool. I don't think either my friend or I are the asshole for getting this guy disqualified when everyone paid to be here and agreed to play fair Magic. What do you think? Am I the asshole? No, what the fuck? So they agreed to play bracket 3, which let's remind ourselves right quick what bracket 3 means. Bracket 3, yes. No mass land denial, no chaining extra turns, late game 2 card infinite combos, and you can only have 3 game changers. This LGS was requiring the Rule 0 conversation so that players could be on equal footing. I do have to say, I think that disqualification was valid. This is easy. Yeah. Not the asshole even a little bit. No, what was he thinking? I can't, like, without more context, I feel like I can't tell if he was doing this on purpose or if it was an accident. It's hard to say. Yeah, it is a strange tournament. I feel like LGSs have a lot of really weird ways of playing casual Commander, but like trying to make it money. For a minute, let's take the fact that this was a paid event out of it. You sat down, you had a Rule 0 conversation saying, hey, let's play bracket 3. And then you literally put out a cEDH deck. What were you thinking there, buddy? You know what I mean? Like,
the audacity!
Unfortunately, the bracket system is here to stay. A lot of people follow it. A lot of people actually, I heard, were talking very in favor of it at the con, saying that it led to really productive Rule Zero conversations with strangers. So I think the bracket system is here to stay. As much as we think it's flawed, it's here. We must learn to deal with it. I do think people are bad at evaluating decks for sure. And that's like a widespread problem. As like we continue to talk about everything, we all come across people that are like that. I get accused of being like that all the time, and it drives me nuts. Unspoken rules of casual Commander. That's a good point, Tina. It does kind of like condense a couple of issues down into like a biteable. Is that a word I'm thinking of? Like a biteable. What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of like a metaphor here, and it's not coming out properly. A bite size. There we go. It does condense it down into a bite size. I still can't finish the thought. Oh my god. Like bite-sized themes so that people that might not completely understand the game can probably kind of understand how to Rule Zero, I suppose. Yeah. Digestible. There's a word. Yeah, I'm rebooting. I am failing at life. I had a migraine today and I woke up with it, so I kind of started my day with less brain power than normal. So we're still I'm still trying to just survive. Numerous game changers is kind of like what I'm sticking to. You're only allowed to have 3 game changers in a bracket 3. So seeing numerous game changers definitely already means that they lied in their Rule Zero conversation. So, okay, so let's pull back in the paid event thing. He obviously had an ulterior motive for lying because there are prizes on the line, which because there's a prizes on the line, I do feel like this was purposeful and this person was maybe trying to get away with something. I don't know, actually, Fiona. I don't know, actually. I don't know why they wouldn't just immediately get the judge. Maybe to not cause a scene. That would probably be something that I wouldn't want to immediately call a judge in an instance, because I would be a little nervous or anxious about doing so. So I wonder if they just maybe didn't want to cause a scene. I'm guessing that's what it was. Until the ending of the game, they definitely, they were able to handle the problem, but then I guess they wanted to make sure that the person didn't go to another pod with that deck and say that it was a lower power than it was. I do think it was disingenuous for him to say that was a bracket 3 and to try to play that against other bracket 3s just because of the numerous game changers and the cEDH combos and stuff like that. I've seen that argument, Modern, a lot on social media lately with Am I the Assholes, is the idea that you should branch out of Commander and try other formats to make yourself better at Commander, or to make yourself more comfortable with some of the things that piss you off about Commander. It's kind of like taking a break from Commander and just trying something new to help broaden your horizons. And honestly, I agree. I've definitely played Modern, and I kind of enjoy Modern. I don't like I don't like Standard. I feel like Standard gets stale. I don't really enjoy it. I think playing other formats would just be the best way to learn Magic, you know? And that's coming from somebody that literally didn't like Magic until I played Commander. I kind of pigeonholed my way into Commander and stayed there for 4 years now, but I definitely think that Commander is too varied to learn Magic, but at the same time, it's the only reason I got into Magic. Before then, I was so bored. I could not get through a Standard game. I was constantly out of my mind bored, and I liked the idea of building a deck around the synergy of one commander, and that's just what got me in. You know, I dove into the deep end. Ah, there we go. There's a really good metaphor, actually. Commander is like diving into the deep end of Magic, whereas the other formats are like, you know, learning how to swim with your little floating devices. Yeah. So I think that people need to remember that sometimes you need some floaty devices to learn how to play Magic a little bit better. And it's okay. It's okay to practice swimming. I'm so smart. The original question was deliberately ruining a player's night at the LGS during a paid event. I don't think you were deliberate. I think that you were just preventing other players' nights from being ruined. OP. I think that you're good, not the asshole. At the end of the day, I think the original poster is not the asshole. I think that they made the right call in calling attention to what had happened and what that player was doing, because they were being dishonest. And in a paid event like that, you really need to not do that. They could have probably made that call a little bit earlier in their game, but I do think that they were maybe kind of enjoying the challenge of beating that guy down. Maybe just a little bit. See you next Saturday for more Magic the Gathering shenanigans.